he gonna get caught. He'll pop out on you. He get there too quick.
That is, if I'm not mistaken, a 92-pound weight difference. Almost a 100-pound weight difference. It's insane. Let's say he comes in at 200 pounds. It's still a 65-pound weight advantage, which is absolutely ridiculous. How can you be out there claiming to want to fight the best people on the planet?
Several seasoned boxing analysts have cautioned Jake Paul against fighting Gervonta "Tank" Davis, especially after recent training footage showed Davis hitting with blistering speed and unrelenting power. Pros are warning that holding a fight with such a huge size difference is risky physically and damaging to boxing's reputation. They argue that Paul must take Davis seriously as a legitimate, explosive fighter, not just a content creator turned boxer. Critics say that the recent training footage of Davis suggests that he is not just fast and agile, but also technically sharp and capable of trapping opponents, which presents a real danger if Paul slips into complacency.
Quite surprised because it sounded like Jake Paul and Joshua was getting closer and closer for January. However, there have been rumors of Gervonta Davis versus Jake Paul in the past. I think with Gervonta Davis's kind of legal problems in the last month or so and rumors about his retirement, I don't think it's a massive shock that he is taking this Jake Paul fight if it is going to go ahead, purely for the reason that it's a lot of money for maybe not the most difficult job that he's going to have in his career. So it's a strange one, but yeah, it's just another kind of day in the sport, really, isn't it? Yeah.
Promoter Eddie Hearn has starkly cautioned Paul about the dangers of fighting Davis. Hearn warned Paul could suffer serious, even devastating consequences. Be careful what you wish for. Hearn deems the bout a mismatch, raising concerns over Paul's safety, despite the match's massive commercial appeal. While he rates the fight's chances as 50-50, his underlying message is clear. In this fight, Paul risks far more than just his record. In Hearn's view, his well-being is on the line.
I think it's extremely dangerous for Jake Paul. You know, I've got the general feedback is the boxing world saying, please, AJ, go in and evaporate this young man from the boxing world so we can all get on as normal. You've got Jake Paul fans thinking bizarrely they can beat Anthony Joshua. And the most bizarre thing out of everything is that Jake Paul genuinely believes he will beat Anthony Joshua. I think that's the only reason we're going to see this fight. But I truly believe you're going to see it at the beginning of 2026.
Daniel Cormier has delivered a measured yet critical response to Jake Paul's decision to take on Davis. He acknowledged Paul's promotional prowess and growing legitimacy, saying, "I respect Jake Paul today," and praising how he has built himself to the point where Netflix repeatedly partners with him. DC couldn't ignore the glaring mismatch in size. Cormier emphasized Davis is the superior boxer, but underscored the stark weight difference. Davis weighed around 133.8 pounds in his last bout, while Paul tops nearly 200 pounds. He warned that if Davis wins, it could completely derail Paul's momentum. Yet the same applies to Davis, who risks serious embarrassment fighting someone so much bigger.
When a Disruptor Challenge is a legend, guys, anything can happen. When a kid that was on YouTube and on Disney walked in there and said, I'm going to be a professional boxer, Jake Paul needs to be commended for that. He had a vision, and he honestly executed that vision better than anyone ever could have expected. But sometimes you want something so badly that you don't recognize the dangers that come with wanting that thing and then getting that thing. Now Jake Paul has gotten himself to a point where he's fighting someone that could truly, truly end his career. Mike Tyson. We're talking about one of the scariest, most dangerous fighters to ever step foot in the squared circle. For me, it's pretty simple. Jake Paul, in the Mike Perry fight, he got a great appetizer for what he will get in the main event. A fighter that starts very fast, that throws things to take your head off, and you have to kind of match the intensity to ultimately get your shots off. Jake Paul today announced that he has signed with the PFL.
The PFL.
A couple weeks ago, Jake Paul and I were messaging each other about an appearance on my show, DC and RC. Just kind of talking about his future. And honestly, Jake and I have had some run-ins. When I started talking to him and I'm messaging him, he's a kid that's very respectful. And we had respectful conversations. He has an idea what he wants to do. Now, these kids today are different, right? So he's very boisterous, he's very verbal, he speaks big. But will Jake Paul actually fight in the PFL? A lot of boxers say they're going to fight, but they never actually do. Here's the thing about Jake Paul, though. from Ohio. Ohio has some of the best high school wrestling. Jake Paul was a high school wrestler there. So was his brother, Logan. They weren't bad. I believe this one, he'll actually fight.
Former super middleweight champion Carl Froch has issued a stern warning about the safety risks of the next Paul versus Davis exhibition, highlighting an estimated 65 pounds weight gap. Paul typically fights near 200 pounds, whereas Davis competes at 135 pounds. Despite Davis's superior skill, Froch warned that Paul's size and atypical power present a serious threat to Davis. Won't be used to being hit like that. Froch's concerns reflect widespread unease within boxing circles. This is seen less as a competitive bout and more as a freak show, with legitimacy and fighter safety in question.
My name was mentioned at his press conference and he shit himself. And the fight was just absolutely fucking diabolical. Again, I've said before, he's not a professional boxer. He never will be. And he proves time and time again that he's not a professional fighter. So, Jake Paul, go on, piss off.
I mean, I don't really take Jake Paul that serious. He can't really box. He can have a little fight, he can have a swing. Swings away, stands up straight, and he throws punches, but it's not professional boxing. Because when I watch him box, he does so much wrong. It's just everything's wrong. It's so bad. He's got leaky defence. He telegraphs his punches. Like, you put him in with someone his own size, it was a professional, and it's a mismatch. And you'll see that if he ends up fighting somebody. Tommy Fury, bless him, he's a pro boxer, but he's inexperienced. He's got no amateur pedigree. He's a raw novice, or maybe just above the raw novice. I was saying earlier, where would I put him in terms of levels? He'd do well to win a British title. He's at that sort of level. And then from British title to world level, it's like different worlds. It's like totally different. It's like a different sport.
Just here at Los Naranjos in Viva, España. And I found out that Gervonta Davis is now fighting Jake Paul. So Jake Paul was supposed to be fighting AJ. Eddie Hearn announced 99% done, which we've just spoke about. What next for AJ? Potentially Jake Paul. But it now looks like that Jake Paul is fighting one of Anthony Joshua's legs. He's fighting Gervonta Davis, somebody who's a quarter of his size. I don't even know what's going on. Has Eddie Hearn been played? Let me know what you think. But the AJ fight with Jake Paul's finished. Gervonta Davis, fake Paul, November. I don't know what's going on in the world of boxing. This is an absolute joke. What next for AJ? We'll get into this, and there's so many questions I want to get into in the next episode, but I hope you enjoyed this one. And yeah, I just thought I'd give you a quick update because the news has just come in and I'm just trying to relax and play a bit of golf, and I can't. I've got to get it off my chest. I'm going to add it to this video. Hope you enjoy it. Don't forget, if you haven't already, hit like, share and subscribe to the best channel in the business, Froch on Fighting, and we'll see you very soon.
Ryan Garcia harshly criticized the matchup, questioning its legitimacy and calling the idea completely insane. He argued that modern boxing is losing its credibility and compared the sport to professional wrestling, saying it now resembles WWE more than a serious competition. According to Garcia, such matchups damage boxing's integrity, making it harder for fans to take the sport seriously. In his words, boxing is officially the WWE.
Today we're going to talk about the boxing world and another fight that Jake Paul just booked for his joke of a career against a 65-plus smaller guy than him in Gervonta Davis. Jake Paul is a circus sideshow for low IQ incels. Nobody should be falling for this carny bullshit about him being a real fighter. Gervonta is a million times better than him, so he has to handicap Gervonta's skill by being a giant lab rat with a 65-plus weight advantage over him. This is a joke. This is a mockery to the sport of fighting. You know, the best are supposed to fight the best. Why is he fighting a guy that's, you know, in his last fight, Mike Tyson, who, you know, he's got a 40-year age gap between them? You know, why are you fighting a guy that should be in line for, you know, the early bird special, not fighting in a boxing ring, and Mike Tyson? Now you're fighting a guy who is, you know, tiny. He's a 130-pound fighter. You fight in the 210, 220 weight range. So, you know, this is another joke in Jake Paul's career. You know, he claims to want to be a real fighter, but, you know, he's not taking the real steps to be real fighters and fighting, you know, top 10 guys and fighting the best guys in the world. You know, he fights, you know, these circus sideshows against guys that have no business being in there against him. So, you know, I guess this is the state of boxing. It's dead. UFC took over, and, you know, this is what you get now. You get this YouTuber who, you know, is on Lizzie McGuire, and he wants to claim to be a real fighter, but he doesn't want to fight real fighters. So, you know, I think it's ironic, though. Why would he hire a lawyer to sue people that say that his fights are fixed if they weren't, allegedly. So I don't know. It's kind of weird. You guys do the math. Let me know what you think in the comments below.
Amir Khan has strongly condemned the scheduled exhibition bout between Paul and Davis, slamming it as disgusting and warning that it poses serious safety risks. He stressed that the fight's vast weight discrepancy, Paul at around 200 pounds versus Davis at 135 pounds, along with an 8-inch height difference, makes it dangerously mismatched and unlikely to be professionally sanctioned. He warned such contests risk serious injury and could undermine boxing's credibility, applauding promoter Turki Alalshik for refusing to participate in YouTube-style spectacles.
On a guy who's obviously a lot heavier than him, but in an exhibition fight. What are your thoughts on this fight?
A really bad mismatch. And you know what? Whoever the promoter is and that's agreed Gervonta to fight, and whoever the promoter is to fight for Jake Paul to say fight this little man. I mean, that's wrong, man. I mean, that's just like torturing someone. Yeah? I mean, going in there and hurting someone is just not fair on Davis. But like, say you don't know what position Davis is in. I heard that he's been having a lot of legal problems and been arrested a couple of times for a couple of felonies and stuff I've seen with his ex-wife and stuff. So you know what? You don't know what's going through his head. Maybe he just wants to cash up and walk away from the sport. And maybe this is a great opportunity for him where he's seen this fight come up and he's like, fuck it, I'll take it. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I think they're making boxing a joke, really.
Yeah.
One day someone's going to end up getting hurt so badly, then it's going to definitely destroy the sport.
Michael Bisping didn't mince words when calling out Paul. "That's what you call a bully," he remarked, pointing to the massive physical mismatch between Paul and lighter fighters like Canelo Alvarez, a 60-pound gap and a 7-inch height advantage. Bisping slammed Paul's opponent selection, accusing him of targeting smaller, less skilled athletes to ensure wins, calling it an embarrassment. He challenged the legitimacy of Paul's claims to being a serious fighter, stating that Paul leverages spectacle and size disparity rather than merit. In Bisping's view, masquerading as a boxer while cherry-picking opponents is pure bully boy tactics.
How can you be out there claiming to want to fight the best people on the planet and then going out there and taking on a guy that is maybe 92 pounds heavier, that is at least 65 pounds heavier than you? That is called one thing. That's called being a bully. It's like, dude, what are you doing? If you want respect from your peers, if you want everyone on the planet to look at you and take you seriously and give you credit as a boxer, you have to go up against someone that keeps you up at night, against someone that gets you out of bed in the morning to go for a run because the fear of them beating you down is real.
Bisping has often criticized Jake Paul for carefully selecting opponents who are either smaller in size or less skilled, arguing that these choices create unfair advantages. He has described some of Paul's matchups as disappointing spectacles, largely due to the noticeable weight and experience differences. Bisping also once remarked that Paul is more businessman than fighter, suggesting that his career is built more on marketing than competition. According to Bisping, Paul targets aging legends or fighters past their prime instead of pursuing fair, competitive bouts that would genuinely test his ability in the ring. KSI has openly criticized Jake Paul over his fight with Gervonta Davis, labeling the matchup as a disgrace to boxing. He expressed his disappointment with Paul's choice of opponents, suggesting that Paul is avoiding a bout with him, KSI, and instead opting for easier challenges. KSI's comments reflect his ongoing frustration with Paul's approach to the sport and his desire for a legitimate fight between the two.
Gervonta not filling the rematch clause and just fighting Jake Paul and that whole situation and reaction of the fight itself.
I feel people I don't know, people got issues because at 200 million mandatory or either go fight for 5 million. It's a no-brainer. Like, what's wrong with people? It's a no-brainer.
A hard fight. A hard fight.
And we prize fighters. They prize fighters.
Right.
And the prize is big. And he's going to retire soon. So you got 200 million right here and you're about to retire soon or either a $5 million fight.
Wait a minute. Kid said he disagreed. Why did he disagree?
I think it's just from a fighter standpoint. And on top of that, he got a draw. It's not like you won. Like you won and you going to go fight Jake Paul. You got a draw, man. You got to go get that back.
Why? It was a cherry pick.
I mean, yeah, it was a cherry pick, and you didn't look
hold
good.
on.
So you got.
I mean, look, with Jake, the guy's been ducking me or running away from me for so long, man. Like, he's just making excuse after excuse, and now he's fighting. He wants to fight Tank. I mean, it just says the type of guy Jake Paul is. He only fights someone if he has a major advantage. Anything that's close, or anything that could actually be a decent fight, he runs away from it. So,
Dave Allen, the British heavyweight known as the White Rhino, blasted the proposed Paul versus Davis exhibition as farcical and a waste of Davis's prime, asserting that exhibitions should be reserved for retired fighters. He argued that Davis, a pound-for-pound elite lightweight, should pursue a rematch with Lamont Roach, and that Paul should test himself against a credible cruiserweight, not stage spectacle bouts. Allen accused both men of being motivated by money rather than sporting merit, and bluntly stated he wouldn't bother watching what he views as a farce.
Bears, but he's never been punched by a rhinoceros, has he yet? So we'll have to see.
He's training this fight, but fighting against real bears. This is true. People are going, no chance, no chance. Do you reckon this guy, could he be the toughest of your opponents so far, do you reckon?
I don't think he's the best that I've faced. I've faced a few Olympic medalists, a few world title challengers, but I think he's probably the most dangerous. Maybe not the best boxer, he might not be the most technical, but he hits really hard, he's really big and strong, so yeah, I think it's the most dangerous task I've faced, but he may be not the best fighter I've been in with.
Whereabouts is the fight, Dave? Where are you fighting him?
So he's still at Sheffield Arena,
right?
Headlining in Sheffield, which is like my local arena. So yeah, it's a big night for me.
He won his last fight, didn't he, Dave, against Ricardo Brown, and 20 wins, 19 KOs he's got. So like you says, he is dangerous. How's the training gone for you ahead of this fight?
Yeah, it's been good. He's put a bit of fear in me, to be honest. I have had a bit of genuine fear. I've been stopped, but I've never been on the canvas ever as a pro or amateur. So, and I'd like to keep it that way, really. Yeah. I'm not on anyone's highlight reel. You see highlight reels of all the fighters I face. I'm not on any of them, and I'd like to keep it that way. So yeah, training has gone up a notch. For the Fisher rematch, I did weigh a little bit heavy. So for this one, if I cut any corners, there's a good chance I'll get beaten.
Some are calling Gervonta Davis's decision to face a much larger, high-profile influencer a masterclass in evasion, labeling it the greatest duck in boxing history. Instead of settling unfinished business with a peer, he opted for a lucrative spectacle, prompting critics to say he sidestepped real competition. The move reads less like a sporting challenge and more like a calculated retreat from risk, all for exposure and payday. In boxing, where legacy often outweighs money, choosing glamour over gritty rivalries is seen as the ultimate dodge. Some are calling the fight a total money grab, prioritizing cash over competition and turning boxing into mere entertainment. The massive size mismatch, combined with hype-fueled promotion, makes it feel more like a spectacle than a sport. Many worry it cheapens the sport and risks serious harm, all for financial gain, highlighting how far boxing has strayed from its traditional values.
Like the internet, when we give it to you straight, no chase. In sports, Gervonta Davis and Jake Paul have a fight coming up. I ain't even gonna call it a fight, because it ain't. If Jake Paul's involved in it, it's a great acting job. You know Mike Tyson could have just knocked Jake Paul's face into the canvas, but he got paid to pull punches, otherwise he wouldn't have got paid. Pretty sure the same is going for Gervonta Davis. It's a quick money grab. Man, most of y'all gonna be suckers who tune in. It's just a quick money grab. That's all I'm saying. Ain't gonna be no fight. I don't give a fuck how big Jake Paul is. He can't take one of them little mother tank punches. Yeah, tank move furniture. Move furniture. Catch that motherfucking move furniture. And Jake don't like his furniture move, so he gonna pay him not to hit him again. If you really want to show out Gervonta, sign a contract that you ain't gonna hit him, because if you hit him, you lose all the money. And then whoop that motherfucker's ass, put him to sleep, and get him out the boxing game once and for all.
Some critics argue that boxing is dead at this point, claiming the sport has strayed too far from its roots of fair competition and true skill. They believe celebrity-driven matchups, mismatched opponents, and spectacle-driven events are overshadowing the sport's legacy. Instead of highlighting world-class fighters, critics say the focus has shifted to entertainment value.
Whoa! Jake Paul is fighting Gervonta Tank Davis. Chilaquiles.
Must be energy.
Musty energy.
Oh, it's musty, and I say that respectfully. Per Mike Hoppinger in the Ring magazine, Gervonta Tank Davis, freshly off his domestic violence charges being dropped, will get into the ring with Jake Paul in Atlanta with a proposed date of November 15th. Lord child.
Get your hand out of my pocket!
Tank weighs about 135. Jake Paul weighs about 200-some pounds. So obviously this will be at a catch weight, and this possibly will not be a sanctioned fight where it will count on anybody's records. But I'm going to tell y'all like this. Tank fans, you niggas down bad.
The hatred. Musty energy.
You niggas is down bad.
What do you all think about this matchup? Should Paul finally face someone closer to his size and skill level to prove himself? Or is this just part of the boxing game today? Drop your thoughts below.